Well, we are at Max BMW, and they're rolling out the bikes. It's 9 a.m. They're open for business. I'm here to test drive two bikes today: the R1200GS, likely the rally spec, and the R1200GS Adventure in racing red or matte red, whatever they're calling it now. I'm going to see how these two compare. So come along with me, and we'll do this. Okay, this is my bike. Well, my old bike. So it's being picked up and it's being taken off to a junkyard, and then it's going to be sold at auction. So I wanted to get one last sort of look at it before I said goodbye, and I feel like it's kind of an anticlimactic ending, but I'm pressed for time because they were coming in like an hour to pick the bike up and take it away. So I'm really, really going to miss it. So I got a couple more pictures with it before I said goodbye. Built just how I wanted it, and I really, really like that bike a lot. So I might not mute this one too much because you get some motor noise, but this is the R1200GS, I think in the espresso metallic color, 2018 edition. So all that's different between this bike and the 2018 or 2017 GS non-adventure is the TFT screen, hill descent assist, so it won't roll back on a hill. I think you need to really squeeze the brake pedal for that to engage. It also has dynamic brake light, which may or may not have been approved by DOT, because my 2017 had it as well, but it never worked, so I don't know if this one works or not. And then finally it has the auto leveling ESA, so it detects the weight of you, your passenger, and your gear, and it engages ESA that way as opposed to having a separate button. And the buttons are now black, which is cool. So I've never actually ridden an R1200GS before, so I wanted to sit on one and see what it was like. And it's hard to explain just how scary the thinness of this bike is. It's so narrow up top that it's almost like it feels significantly smaller. I'll remark in a few minutes that the weight of the bike feels... I already hate the OEM windscreen. It's too floppy. You'll notice that the turn signals also show left and right now. So on the 2016 and 2017 model, they only flash that the indicator is on, as opposed to left or right, which is kind of a nice improvement. And also it's not a touch screen. The TFT, you'll notice the red line is at 6,000 RPM. So while the oil is actually cool, while the oil is not warm yet, it limits your red line, which is kind of interesting, or at least it may suggest a red line limit, but not actually enforce it. I'm not sure. So I feel like this bike is faster than my GS Adventure was, but the GS Adventure not only starts out heavier, but I've made it heavier with a ton of aftermarket accessories, so it's no surprise to me that this bike feels like 75 pounds lighter, and so that's a good thing, right? But it's not the Adventure, and so we're going to go with that for the next model. I should probably wait a second before I mention that. I'll use the opportunity to quickly mention that my 2017 GS was totaled out by insurance. Didn't really make any money on that, just sort of paid off the loan. And now we are shopping for a new bike. Well, I was when I rode this bike. And the plan at the beginning of this video was to ride the 1200GS and the GSA side by side. And that didn't happen. I went back inside after riding the 1200GS, and I knew what a GSA felt like. I like the heft of the tank. I like the height off the ground clearance, and just overall, I like how the GSA sits. It has street presence, and while Get some more motor here. And while I feel as if the GSA is a waste for people that are going to do what I did and take the racks off and the crash bars off and the skid plate off and the auxiliary LEDs off and the windscreen, everything, and the shocks, everything that makes a GSA, you're taking it off so that you could put stronger aftermarket stuff off. Just buy a GS and make that stronger. I still believe that, but it doesn't. But once you build that stuff up on top of the GS, and you have the price savings, obviously, of having a GS over a GSA, once you build that stuff off using the money you saved, you're still going to have the lower ground clearance and the smaller tank. So it's a personal decision. Let's talk a bit about the GS now while I am off the road here. Well, this is a lot of fun. It certainly feels faster than my GSA did, but I believe that's not a really true, well, that's not a completely valid figure, because the my GSA had about 50 pounds and extra crap on it. So because it's not the progressive steering damper, it's a regular steering damper, it's diving a lot more, which is expected given the fact that there's no progressive damping going on. And of course the shocks feel a little bit sloppy, but again, that's because of me and my old bike. But it's much quicker, but I think that's really just because of the less weight compared to all the weight I'd added to the GSA. Well, that didn't take long. This is my new bike. I'm going to do a much better video of this when it comes in next week. This is just a preview. I won't get it for a full week because it's going to be cleaned and they're going to do a bunch of work to it. And then I will get it a week from today. Actually, by the time you're watching this, I already have it. 2018 GS Adventure Premium with the TFT screen. Normal height, not low suspension. And yeah, this is my new bike. I have a lot to tell you guys about the whole process, but you know, including the crash and all the insurance stuff. I have a lot of videos planned around that experience for those of you that want to know. But for now, I didn't want to wait or delay in showing you this brand new bike. I saved about $4,000, no, $3,300 off the MSRP. So I couldn't be happier. I'm so thrilled with this bike, and I can't wait to tell you more about it. Whew. All right, guys. Talk to you later.